the noise. Oh, baby, because we are back and we are riding high. The Buckster's back from the cruise. We can get back on track. Ladies and gentlemen, where are we at, Paul? 174?
I think so, man. I feel like we had the trifecta of 71, 72, 73 that we were trying to get uploaded. So I think those all got uploaded at some point. I feel like we were releasing episodes at 6 p.m. on a Monday or a Sunday or something like that.
You know, just like my boy Rick Luxury said, and then my dad confirmed, in 1969, we did not. On July 20th, 1969, we did not land on the moon. We were in a race with Russia to see who could get to outer space first. And if you believe that the WWF cameras were left on Bret Hart to watch him spit a loogie on Vince McMahon and write WCW in the air, well, then you're as big of a mark as everybody else. And I said, no, we did land on the moon, dog. We did. And as a matter of fact, don't you tell me that there's no Santa Claus and there's no Easter Bunny. 174, it's your neighborhood-friendly coach, Terena Promoter, 44-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb. And I'm joined alongside, as always, my podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, we back, motherfucker.
Oh, we are absolutely back. We were a little stumble, but you know what they say, man. You got to have those the hurdles in the road, man, to step over and kick out of the way and all those things. So we'll just keep rolling strong. You know, get to 200, get to 300, all those things. Keep driving the bus.
Two shows this weekend. We were in Rio Linda with Hollywood Hob, the big bad Shaq Wolf, and the biggest dog, Jalen Love. Shaq Wolf, amazing job promoting this event. Bodie boxing family, the Alvarez boxing family, the home of the Hoopsters. This place was off the hook. New fan base. We're coming back. Great job moving into the Sacramento area with these guys, man. They just impressed me. And then Foothill Community Church the next day. I'm over here emceeing this thing, and there's something I wanted to point out and I wanted to talk about today. For the promoters, for the real bookers out there, you know, the guys came up to me. There was a few cancellations, and they had 11 matches, and it looked a little scattered. And they came up to me with the phone, and they were like, all right, coach, this is what we got. This is what we got. And I said, hey, man, get me a piece of paper and a pen, right? So this goes to all you guys out there, you promoters, man. Get me a piece of paper and a pen. And he kept with the phone. I said, hey, man, give me a piece of paper and a pen. Let's disconnect from technology. Let's get away from our fucking phone. They call it the pencil. I don't need a pencil, but I need a pen. And I need a piece of paper. And I need to see this. I need to Marshall Mathers, Slim Shady, Eminem this shit right in front of me. And I need to take a look at it. And we were able to condense to 8 matches. We had 4 boxing matches. And I think that's something that's really missing in wrestling is we write it down and put it on the wall when we have the card, right? But I think something that's really missing, and we always talk about it, and we've been talking about it on this podcast, how much I write in these notebooks, right? My dad asked me, he said, yeah. And that's something that's really missing from all this in the promotional aspect is writing, reading and writing. Who would have thought, right? What are your thoughts on reading and writing and having the pencil and laying it out there and just really writing it over and over again and where you plan on going. I like to see it 1,000 times in my head on that paper. And maybe I'm writing the same shit over and over again, but maybe one day I'm gonna scratch something out and something's gonna change. So what is your opinion on when you're booking this stuff? How do you I know we talk about it all the time, but how do you go about it? Obviously you have your piece of paper there, so it's a rhetorical question, but come at me, big man.
Well, no, I mean it's something that I got from you. You told me get a fucking a pad of paper and start writing shit down, right? What are you going to do at the next show? Start writing that down. If you're going to add on to it, write a new page, add that part onto it. Like just continue to build on what you're doing. And I'm thinking about the last couple shows where it's like you have your marquee stories, the things that you're really trying to get attention on, and then you've got some stuff that's simmering on the side with other guys that have been playing a role in your company, and you're trying to figure out what's going to make the most sense. And I always like having Dale Clifford also, because this dude's like an encyclopedia of wrestling facts, of the stuff that we've done over the last several years. He's like, oh well, such and such has beat this guy, so it would make sense for them to have a match, and that they've wrestled before, and all this different stuff. And it's like, oh shit, thanks, Dale. Like I didn't remember that. I didn't think about that. But that's why I think for me specifically, it is important for me to run ideas by other people, because I think I can take care of it, but at the same time, I always love getting ideas from other people, getting feedback from other people, seeing what other people think. I've been constantly asking people, what are the stories that are going on in our company right now? Tell me what you think is important right now. What are you looking forward to at this next show? And hearing the different answers is definitely eye-opening, because it puts it in perspective of, not every fan is excited to see me versus you. Some fans are excited that Dawn won the trophy and now won the championship. So people are excited about that part. People are excited about Jalen Love. People are excited about Ethan Reno. You had a patch of people that were into the Kid Carson, Kate Adams storyline. So getting everyone else's perspective of what they think is the match to watch, or the match that they're most interested in seeing, things like that, I think is a good thing for me to have in my mind, because then it's not so much this is what's going on in my company, because that's what's going on in my head. That's what I think is important. So getting to see that type of stuff, I think, is important. And then obviously writing it down and seeing what we're doing going forward, what matchups we have this coming show, and what that leads into for the following show and the show after that, I think is it's good for me to see it on paper and go, okay, I can take this and that can turn into this down the road. And here's the culmination of what we're doing with these two guys, or this is the culmination of these tag teams, and there's things like that. So, and obviously, me, I'm always trying to look at those outside guys as well, and see who I could bring in, who's going to be a good matchup with who. Like we brought Drake Frost in the last show and had a good one with Jalen Love, and then he's available for the next show. So you're like, okay, well, I think he could have a good one with this guy also, and just putting those matchups together. And I think it's it's very much the playing with your wrestling dolls, putting the storylines together. It's exciting, and endless possibilities. So I definitely like writing stuff down and having an idea of what's going on moving forward.
Well, that's the beauty. It's like when we were looking out in the crowd, there was a lot of Sergio primetime signs. A lot of signs were in the crowd, which WWE, I mean WWF Attitude Era, man. That's one of the biggest things is when these fans, when you see, and this is no joke. There was only one positive primetime sign, but when you see 15 signs, literally 15 signs, a packed house and 15 signs, you go, man, it is catching on because all these people they're taking the time to go buy this stuff and make these signs to bring to the show to wave at you and antagonize you or cheer for you. And after this weekend, one thing I realized is how important the MC, the AJ Kirsch, how important the MC, the ring announcer, the host with the most of these shows are, and that is one thing that I got this weekend because that's what I did. I hosted, I ring announced, I kept everything going at both events this weekend and got a lot of good feedback from it. And I realized I know the product, right? I don't need the cue card. I'm feeling how I need to do it. If there was a spot where Nash and Annabelle handed Nash the chain and he used it on Jalen on Saturday in Rio Linda, and the way I'm announcing this and the arm raising, like knowing the business, being a good announcer, knowing when to get these guys over, no lag in between matches, getting everything over professionally done. We need a good ring announcer, man. Whether you want to call it a host or an MC, it's the ring announcer. You need a good ring announcer to keep this show flowing along, which I think JP does a great job of doing that down there. I think Matt Sanchez does a great job for Ugly Dojo ring announcing. Ring announcing, you need a good ring announcer. You need good referees. Commentary, if you can get it, is another thing that you need. And most importantly, you need guys that actually know how to book and produce this stuff. And these are key factors that you need going into these things. You need trustworthy people at the door to take tickets, but you also need someone at the door that's personable, that knows how to talk to someone if a situation breaks off, and they're welcoming when you come in. That's the first person you see. There's so many jobs that go into professional wrestling, and just moving around and looking at this product, the way things are going. I think the most impressive thing, and I want to hear about some of the training tonight now that we can actually start hearing about that. But I think, like I was telling you, I think the most impressive thing, and I mean, this goes for everybody, but 2 years ago when I came down there, and we were at the one, I can say we now. I can finally say we. And if it pisses other people off, fuck off. But, one venue and like 40 fans at the venue. And now to watch you spread your wings, man, to watch JP spread his wings, to see the people that have left, that have come in, that have gone, all the, changes that have been made there too in the rebuilding process of this thing. And you get so much criticism along the way when you're rebuilding. And it's one thing I always tell people is I've gotten so much, shit from other people saying, you got to change this, you got to do this, you got to work on this with these guys. And it's like, it takes time. And they don't realize if you're not somebody who's going to show up and make an impact with what we're doing and put in the work to do what you're saying, I don't give a shit what you're saying, to be honest. Yeah, you're right. Okay, it's obvious you're right. No shit. But if you're not going to show up to put in the work, shut the fuck up. I love the A's, right? But if I can't physically, if I was to sit here and go, oh, they need this pitcher, they need to do this with the money, they need this, fuck that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm just, what can I change unless I'm really there changing it? You know what I mean? So that's just one thing I really this last weekend realized, like, how important it is when you're wrestling in front of new fans, which this was one of our biggest weekends in front of two different demographics at a church in Rio Linda. How important is it, that first impression of keeping the show going, keeping the audience engaged, keeping the ring announcer, man. That is such an underrated job where we're just going out here trying to find people to go, hey, would you like to ring announce? No, that that's such an important job. You know, Dylan Drake was so good at it. Mitch was really good at it. You know what I mean? It's just it's just all the it's just all the things that we get into, and we need to realize one thing. It starts with the presentation. It starts with the presentation.
Well, I mean, you talk about the person that's running your door and being the first point of contact with people, and it immediately made me think about this last show where we oversold front row tickets and we had to pivot, right? It's like, okay, well, we only have this many front row seats, quote unquote, so we're gonna have to find room for these other 10 people that bought front row tickets also. So making that happen, making those people happy, making them feel like special VIP seats type of thing. That was important for, the person that was running our door. And, it's always nice to have the smiling face and the welcome. And here's where, your seats are right over here. And here's where you see, here's the bleachers, here's the floor, here's the front row. Kind of first come, first serve, sit wherever you want. Try to scooch towards the end. Don't try to leave into one seat in between, things like that. So trying to get that stuff arranged. And obviously, like you say, JP, is just out there, great host for what we're trying to do. He's trying to get those fans excited about what's going on. He cares about the product and the presentation that we're trying to put together. And he wants it to be as good as we do, right? He's just as involved, and he wants the fans to have a great experience. I look at JP as the kind of like the banana ball guy, right? This is the fans' first experience, where he wants them to have a good time, right? And he's going to do whatever it takes to make that happen. So having those people there and ready to get that done, I think is super important. And then you definitely can't overlook the guys in the back who are making sure things go smoothly as far as doing what we're asking them from the promoter side, and telling the story that we're asking them to tell. And for the most part, no egos. Nobody's worried about if I'm winning, if I'm losing. You have those type of dynamics where you're just like you're pleased with what's going on because everybody's on the same page, and everyone has the one goal of making this the best experience for these fans, telling a great story, and giving them a reason to come back to the next show. And I always find it exciting when it's people are telling you that they bought tickets for the next show while they're standing there as you're closing down of this show. So that's always exciting for me, where people are telling you, oh, hey, I already got my front rows for next month. It's like, awesome. That means you're excited, you're engaged, you're entertained. All those things go into that. So that's exciting as well.
We'll get your money lined up, man. That's most important. I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. What is the presentation of your show? Is there production? Do the mics work well? How does the sound out there? Is there reverb when you turn the microphone on? Are you prepared? Do you have extra AA batteries on hand in case your wireless mics go out? These are important things. The blue painter's tape that we put over the pads. Do you keep that on stock? How many do you need each show? Do you have enough supplies? Because if you're sending a runner, or you have to leave yourself to go pick up these miscellaneous supplies, then you are not prepared for the event that you are putting on. And that's just the truth, right? Like, I get that sometimes you got to make a run, or maybe the concession sold out. We've had it before where the concession sold out of something, and we had to send one of the, we had to send Angel or Alex to the store to get more, which that's a good problem to have. But being prepared, man. Do you have a cash box? Do you have the little zip, do you have multiple cash boxes for the, do you have merchandise? Do you have this? That's one thing I noticed this weekend was both events. Jalen Love, Jalen now has 4 or 5 different t-shirts. He has stickers, and he has the clear stands with like 4 or 5 8x10s in them. And he spent a lot of time at the merch booth. And as much as people harp on MILF Hunter, that man sits on his business. You know what I mean? I remember asking him one show, I'm like, this motherfucker spends more time out there with the fans and at the merch table than he does in the locker room. Promos, wrestling, before. And then as time goes on, I have a change of heart. That's not my thing. I've missed out on a shit ton of money. I was talking to Ollie about their dad the other day. We both missed out on a shit ton of money in the wrestling business. And to see these guys right now going, you know what? This is how I'm going to make my money. If I'm not getting, I can walk out of here if I promote myself well out there and given that opportunity. So to the Jalen Loves, to the MILF Hunters, I've seen Illuminate show up at shows with he's got his merchandise going. Back in the day, we talked to Adam about it, Jeff Cobb. I mean, these guys that take their merchandising very seriously. Like, how much money have you lost out on in merchandising? You know what I mean? So there's just so many aspects to this show that it doesn't even involve the stuff that we're talking about in the ring. So if the last thing you have to worry about is what's going on with your talent in the ring and the way it's being presented and what they're doing, and your focus is on all this other stuff, and that's the last of your worries, that means you're doing something and you're going somewhere. So to everybody out there, be prepared, because last minute stuff at a wrestling show is stressful.
Of course. Well, and when you have those guys that you can trust on your show, that you go, hopefully they're coming up to you and saying, hey, what are you looking for tonight? And you can give them a quick rundown. This is what I want to see. This amount of time. This is the story. This is who's up. This is what I want for the finish. Whatever. If you have a bunch of guys in your locker room that you can trust with giving them that little information, and they go, yeah, no problem, I got you. And then they can go out there, and like we say all the time, the thing that doesn't get done is execute. If these guys can go out there and they can execute what you're asking them to do, then your worries are, you can spend some extra time, fussing with the merchandise, and you could spend extra time making sure the sound is just right and speakers are placed where they need to be, and cash boxes and, all those things are set up just exactly the way you want them, and the entrance is the way you want it, and all those extra things that you don't have to worry about. Right. Making sure you got change, all these different things. Yeah. And it's these things that get overlooked sometimes, but when you have the confidence in, the people that are on your show, the performers, then you don't forget about those other things, because you're able to focus on them a little bit more, because you're not wondering, is this guy going to show up? Is this guy going to do a good job? Is this guy going to piss and moan about his spot on the card, if he's winning or losing, what's going on with his character down the road and stuff like that? It's like, man, if you go out there and you hear it so many times where people go, oh, what's the key? What's the key to being a good wrestler? And you hear everyone who knows what they're talking about say, you got to be able to get over, right? It's like, oh, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, if you can make the fans care about what you're doing, regardless if you can do all the flashy moves and all that bullshit, if you can, if they can care about what you're doing, if they want to spend money to come watch you on a show, then you're probably doing a pretty good job of getting yourself over. So if you have those guys, then you don't have as much to worry about. When the wrestling shows themselves.
Well, that's it, right? What's the name of the podcast? The Going Over Podcast. The arm is raised up. But in turn, when somebody is going over, somebody has to get that person over. In order for them to go over, right? We have to build a baby face. And we have to, that's one thing I noticed about your show when Dawn was wrestling RC is the audience. There was a couple members of the audience that I started to hear it behind that drop down curtain. We want a Nevadian. We want someone from Nevada to be the champion. And it was the perfect time to hear this because Bad News is surrendering this belt. So now it's like, okay, we got two friends, tag team partners, because one's got the trophy, about to duke it out to see who's going to be the new Nevada State champion, right? And it's something that doesn't, I don't just hear it in the back of my head as being a part of your company. I go, who is that guy? Who's the guy? Who's the Nevadian? Who's the Nevada resident, the local boy that's going to be the big baby face to win that championship down the road? And I look at it and I go, well, there's you. And then I look at it down the road and I go, there's Adam. And then I start looking down the road and I start going, well, who's the youth that can really get over? Like, if you put the belt on Adam, who's somebody that Adam can work with from Nevada? Maybe it's one of these new guys, but I immediately look at a Cade Adams. You know what I mean? He's young. He's still got time left in the business. He's someone who you can get 5-10 good years out of him. And I love the kid to death, but he's out there wrestling in a t-shirt. And it's like, pop that shirt off, man. You're still young enough that you can do something in the actual business. Now, me, I'm almost 45. You're over 50, you know. Adam's 43. The guys in our era are getting older, man. So we can contribute. Maybe we land a podcast on WWE radio. Maybe our podcast takes off. Maybe some of these guys become trainers or something. You never know. You never know where this is going to go, and we have the vision. But what I'm saying is, if you're somebody who is 35 years of age with experience and under, if you have not hit 35 yet and you have more than 5 years of experience in the business, get on it, man. Get on that diet. Get in that gym. Get in that ring and train hard. That's what baffles me. I mean, this is going to be the perfect lead in for me to hear what I want to hear live on this broadcast. But I am just so confused as to the whole training aspect of everything. It's like, do you gym, bro? Do you take proteins, bro? Do you train, bro? What? How do you win championships in any sport? You know, it's almost like it's almost so dumb that it's like, I hit the most home runs in the basketball game. You know what I mean? Like, do you train? Are you there? Are you working on your training? That's one thing that I just can't stand. I see so many guys online and they are talking so much shit, right? They're in the comments, everything else. I think Ugly mentioned up on it a little bit in one of his blogs, but it's like, you know, today I seen the same thing from another promoter bashing another promoter in the San Jose area. And I believe what it said was like something along the lines of, sorry, the city doesn't pay me thousands of dollars to put on shitty shows in the park. And no diss on the guy, because I don't have a problem with him. And I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, so that you're mad at someone because the city is paying them a lot of money. They're in that position where the city's paying them to put on a show in a park. So they're actually making money off of this. And they're on there talking shit. And maybe they don't care. Maybe they think they're renegade. This is renegade type behavior. But it really is. It's like, I don't want to work. I wouldn't want to work with somebody like that. I don't work with people like that. I can completely understand if people didn't want to work with me when I was a fucking fall down drunk. Why would you? It has nothing to do if you like me or not. I'm a liability, man. I'm a liability. And I hear so much stuff about me. And I'm like, well, was that more than 811 days ago? Because if it wasn't, sorry. Sorry about that behavior. You know what I mean? If you're still holding me accountable for changing my life and getting in a really good space, I don't know what to tell you. I've said it on here a million times. Apologize about that. But yeah, the training aspect of this, man, and just being good character, having good character. So while we're on the topic of that training, that's something that that you missed. That's something that Adam missed. And you said a name today that I want you that I didn't realize when you were talking about the padding and the guy from BTW. I didn't realize who you were talking about until before we hit this record button today. You said his name, and I'm like, yeah, I know that motherfucker, man. That's awesome that you have him around to even be around there, because if Adam doesn't show up or you're not able to make it one day, he can do it. So tell me about tonight, Paul. That's what I want to hear.
Well, yeah, I mean, really this week kind of started off with that type of vibe. Adam had an awesome class on Saturday. That he was very, very happy with, and our friend from BTW Dash Rip Rock was made an appearance. I guess he lives in Carson City, and so just a guy that's very much like us, who is just passionate about this, wants to help guys get better, loves the professional wrestling business. They're wanting to lend a hand, and any type of expertise that he could lend. He wants to do that. So Adam had a big class on Saturday. And then, I had some guys reaching out to me this week about, future shows and stuff. And I was like, I really think that you need to get back to training so we can work on some stuff. So I can feel more comfortable putting you on shows again, right? Because it goes back to what you're saying about these guys that are, and we've talked about it forever, right? You get to a certain point and you think, I don't need to train anymore, right? I'm gonna do it in the ring on the weekends, right? And I'm gonna wrestle whatever it is. If you're wrestling every weekend, if you're multiple times a week, there's still things that you can polish and clean up at training, right? You don't have to, we've mentioned this to each other, like, you don't need to be in there taking 1,000 bumps in training, but you can be working on stuff. You could be working on holds, tightening up different stuff, making things look believable. What can I add? What can I take away? What am I not doing well anymore? What doesn't fit my style? What's hurting my body? Let's take some of that shit out of your repertoire. Let's add some stuff that's more age appropriate, that's gonna help your longevity and give you the opportunity to help some of these younger guys, man. So getting guys back into training, we had our class tonight, and another big turnout, which it's you know, when we got the school started back up last January, it was exciting to have 15 guys to start with, right? And then slowly those people eroded, right? Those guys, you know, kind of dropped off, you know, here and there. But you know, I feel like we've got some guys right now that are dedicated, right? These are guys that go, hey, I can only make it on Saturday, and then next thing you know, they're there on Saturday, and then now they're here on Wednesday also, and they're telling me, see you on Saturday. You know, it's like that's what we're looking for, right? And Adam and I made it very, very clear on the tryout day, right? It's like, you know, not everyone is going to be the winner of this contest, right? We're going to take the person that we think is the most coachable, you know, the person that we think is going to be there the most, driven individuals, things like that. And, you know, and then the next statement is training is going to be on these 2 days. If you want to be a pro wrestler, try to get your schedule to be open on these 2 days, right? If you can get 2 days of training, quality training every single week, several hours each session, get in there, get a sweat, learn about what we're doing, what we're trying to do. We're already seeing just from, you know, I saw the guys last Wednesday. Adam worked with them on Saturday. I'm already seeing huge improvements on these guys, you know, but it starts with, you know, being there on a regular basis, right? It starts with that consistency that we talk about, right? Being there, being present, listening to what's going on, learning from other people's mistakes. Like, don't let me correct something that you're doing that the person right before you just did, and I corrected them, right? Let's make a different mistake. Let's make something else that everyone can learn from. Let's figure some of these things out, right? You know, it sucks when you're making the same correction to one person after another, and then you start seeing some progress when you're not making the same adjustments with every person, right? So, you know, and we were talking tonight about that. It's like, you know, we're running the ropes, and it's like you're going to be goofy to start with, but when you get to that scenario where you fuck up hitting a rope or your footwork is wrong, and you just go, okay, I fucked that one up, but the next rope is going to be correct. I'm going to hit the next rope the right way. And you can fix it mid-stride. That's when we think, okay, you're starting to make some progress. You're starting to understand what we're asking you to do. You know, and I think that was the big message. You know, you were talking to people. Adam was talking to people about coachability, right? I don't give a shit how good you are at this right now, 2 weeks in, right? I care, are you listening to what I'm asking you to do? And are you trying to make those adaptations? You know, what does your effort look like? Are you coachable? You know, are you working hard? Are you in the ring every time we need someone to step in for the next rep? Are you the one that's pushing the rope down and stepping in, right? Are you that guy? Or are you the guy that's going to stand on the apron or stand on the floor or be on your phone? You know, which student are you going to be? You know, and obviously we always know those students that are getting the most reps, that are most willing to step in there, are the guys that are going to get better much quicker. So that's, you know, in a nutshell.
Are you showing up?
Yeah.
Are your dues in on? Do I have to remind you to pay your dues? I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to ask you where you were or why you didn't show up, because clearly I don't need you to give me an excuse why you're not going to be there. You know why I don't? Because it's obviously something came up, and whether it's an emergency, either way, it was more important than what you say you want to do in your actual career, right? Like it's just more important. Brock Lesnar's on ESPN. How many times we gotta say they said, they all say it, there'll never be another one of him, right? And in his retirement speech, his very humble retirement speech on ESPN, he had one message. One fucking message that he wanted. He said, I was a broke country kid with lint in my pockets in South Dakota, but I had a good work ethic and I was willing to work my ass off. And he said, that's the best advice I can give. And I wish these kids nowadays would realize it. Put in the work hard, man. And this is a consistent thing that you're going to do over and over and over. Any sport, whether you're a rapper, Eminem just didn't write rhymes. Eminem practiced those rhymes to be the very best. Kobe Bryant went into a gym, and if he saw someone from the other team training before he got there, he made the fuck sure he would stay longer, at least 30 minutes to an hour extra, so they would see that he was working harder than them. Michael Jordan forced the teammates to be uncomfortable and know they were going to have to show up and put in shit. He went and found Dennis Rodman at fucking Carmen Electra's fucking apartment in Vegas, went out there and physically found him and knocked on the door and said, get your ass back here. We got a championship to win. I don't care how fucked up you were. And these are leaders, man. These are inspired people. And you have to put in this effort because it's not gonna be handed to you. This is gonna be hard. It's gonna be fucking hard. It's still hard. It's still hard after 27 years, you know? Like I like to tell people, that first 5 years of your career, you're gonna bump your ass off at the shows and you're going to bump your ass off at practice. And then as you head past that 5th year into your 10th year, you're going to start bumping less at practice, but you're still going to bump at them shows. And then once you head past that 10-year marker on your way towards 15, you're going to stop bumping at practice and you're going to start taking less bumps at shows. And if you can get past that 20-year marker and into that 25-year marker, and they can say whatever they want. We're going on 3 decades of doing this shit, man, and still around doing it. So a lot of people don't make it that long or even make it to the point where they can still do this at a level that people still, we're still able to contribute. I've said that before, whether people go, I'm a main eventer or whatever, we're able to contribute. And I used this comparison the other night to you. And when you're born, you shit your pants. You shit yourself. Someone has to clean you up and change you. Right before your career is your life is coming to an end, you lose your bodily functions. And then at the end, you shit yourself again and someone has to clean and change you. Well, in professional wrestling, the most awkward thing we can do is jump up as high as we can and land on our back with a high school boy bump. You know when your career is getting close within the 5-year marker, when you no longer want to take a choke slam or a power bomb. You don't want the high school boy bump. That's the first thing that goes. And you go, all right, I'll take the snap. I'll take the Beal. I'll take the handspring. I don't want to take that bump anymore. I don't want to land on the mat that high up without someone hitting at the same time as me, to be honest with you. And we find creative ways. Reno, you're going to hit me with the rock bottom. Do it into the corner and I'll hit the buckle and then I'll come out and you hit me with the spear. So I'll take your move in the corner and then I'll come out and you can I'll take a good snap bump for you. But I'm not going up 9 feet in the air and crashing down. My neck doesn't tuck like it used to. We have to find different alternatives. Choke slam. And do I want to take it in the center of the ring? Like if you took me up and just let me take my feet up and let me take my own bump, if Sin powerbombed me and let me go, I could probably take my own bump. But the adrenaline in the ring, you're going to stuff me down to the ground. I don't want that. So you know what? Throw a fucking table out there. Leave the metal on the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, let me take 3 or 4 feet of crash time away because nobody wants that. Mat is hard. That's what I heard all weekend from everybody at the church. And there was no railing around the ring and the food was right next to it. So it turned into a goddamn table for hot dogs and hamburgers and lemonade and tea. And I had to go around and tell people, hey, get that off the ring, man. There was a lot of spills and people kept going, oh, goddamn, that's not much padding. That's pretty hard. And you know what I heard? What do you think I heard all weekend about the ring? It's like a what?
Hopefully it's on a trampoline.
That's what they said. I thought this thing was like a trampoline. And I'm like, I wish. I fucking wish, right? Like, then I could do a standing backflip like Adam Thornstowe and be fine when I landed. You could send me up to Mount Vesuvius with a choke slam. And as long as you don't short hop me and knock me off the trampoline, I'd be. It's not a trampoline. And as we get older, our body is telling us, hey, Zach, I don't like that when you go that high and land that hard on that mat. My chin doesn't like when I know when it's time to alter things and then it's coming to a close. When you take me up for a choke slam or a power bomb and in midair, I'm looking this way. You know what I mean? I'm not going up and I'm going up and I'm like, shit. Let me take a peek back behind me to see where I'm going to land, which is going to make it an even worse bump. But my body is physically warning me. You know, it's physically as I go up going, nope. Which going into it, I should have been like, yeah, I don't want to take that because my body doesn't want me to take that. It's a warning sign, man. It's flight or fight. My body doesn't want to do that anymore. My body doesn't mind snapping back. I can post real high and take a bump or a nice big fucking hip toss. You know, give me a German, give me a belly to back, whatever. Nice stalling suplex, splash off the rope, superplex. But my body doesn't want to go, boop. Your body tells you a lot in this business, man. And a lot of people don't listen to that motherfucker either. Ride or die, right? I'm ride or die, baby. 10 surgeries. My back's fucking shattered. But I got 12 bookings I got to make. You know? Fuck the money. I have to get out there. And that's like, for me, I'm like, nah, man, I get it. I'm cool. I got hosting, ring announcing, refereeing, commentating, managing, fucking directing, producing, booking, coaching at training without. There's so the in-ring. Nobody understands real in-ring cardio too, because that's a monster, bro. There ain't nothing like hundreds of people around you, all the heat, you're baking like a fucking egg in an incubator. You're going and stopping and going and stopping. Nothing can prepare you for that type of cardiovascular conditioning, especially as we get older.
Oh, that's no doubt about that, man. I took me a couple snap bumps tonight myself.
Did you take a high school boy?
Nope. Okay. I did not. I didn't take a Beal bump. I didn't take a handspring bump. I did take a couple snap bumps, but yeah, I know how it is, man. It's like I'm eliminating stuff from my arsenal. You know, I don't want to land on my ass with a leg drop anymore. I don't want to sit out power bomb anyone. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I'm good with throwing a big boot, you know, giving a body slam here and there. So, yeah, so it is. It's definitely understandable. Our proverbial bump cards are drawn to a close, taking those big bumps. Yeah, so not that I've ever taken a lot of high school boy type bumps anyway, but I definitely could. I definitely could back in the day take those big ones, but yeah, just I don't know, man. I think it's just one of those things. It's like we're trying to be smart about this. We can still do it at an entertaining level. We can still go out there and main event and draw a crowd and things like that. Just doing simplistic storytelling stuff. So that's what we're choosing to do at this point. So I think that's the smart way to go about it, man. To try to elongate as much as we can. If we get to that 50, 55 range, then you feel like you accomplished something, especially if you don't get seriously injured. You can still walk, you can still play with the kids. Like I feel like that's a win for me for sure.
Yeah, walking out of the business, man. But that's the thing is like, I still feel that recovery kind of really boosted everything for me because I hadn't felt like that in 15 years. The mental, the emotion, the physical, when it all cleared up after a while of doing that. And I look at it now, man, and I say, it's about the morale and not the desire, right? So like when I look at it now, I go, man, we're always going to desire to be on top. We're always going to have that desire. But my job now, I know what my job is now, and I'm totally fine with it. But I have this, I'm lucky enough, I'm grateful and blessed enough that in my company, Jalen Love, Ethan Reno, Ramon Corzine, Jesse Garcia, there's so much young talent that I got a good year, maybe less, that I can work with these guys and really get them over where they need to get them to that next step. So for the next 5 or 15 years, I don't have to be out there, and it's about these guys. So, Sin, or your goal being the most violent minister of violence, the nightmare. You have to create the next nightmare, the next minister of violence. Is it Shaq? You know what I mean? Take this guy and make him, pass the torch on to him. We saw Brock Lesnar pass the torch to Obafemi. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's about passing that torch. And a lot of people go, oh, the old guys are still hanging around the main events. And it's like, no, there's a reason the old guys are still hanging around the main events, like with you and what we're doing down there. It's the championships on Dawn, and Dawn and RC got opportunities, and Reno and Jalen and these guys are where that company's going. As far as that is, we're not worried about that situation. So it is about, can you work? And this is something that a lot of people get wrong because they're just working a series of matches. Can you work a program to make the next guy? Can you really get the next guy over to be the next baby face? And do you have the right amount of heels lined up and over in your company? Because you just need 5 or 6 good heels, like real heels. At this point, when you're wrestling in front of new audiences and stuff, they just want to cheer and boo. That's what's gonna give them a taste. That's what's gonna bring them to wherever you're trying to get them to go to or to follow you around. Is, did they have a fun time? Oh, we showed you 4 or 5 matches. Hopefully those 4 or 5 matches in front of an audience that you're wrestling in front of for the first time for your promotion is this is the obvious bad guy, this is the obvious good guy. And you can tell the Bouye story because they have to see the character. If they don't understand your fucking character, they're not going to understand these dangerous moves over and over and over and over again, because they're actually going to start to go, oh, you know what? I saw that last week. Let's sell some mannerism. Let's sell some. I got to buy your character, buddy. Who the fuck are you? You got to tell me a story and get me interested in interacting with you. Because if I can't interact with you, I can only see the moonsault so many times. I can see the fucking combination Mortal Kombat moves so many times, and I can, a good experienced pro. I saw it tonight. Watched a little bit of that Packed House Dynamite in Mexico, but I mean, it was just movie. But I saw Christian going to tie up with whoever he was wrestling first, and they started chanting, and he stopped and acknowledged the chant and then went to the lockup because he heard him. It's a guy who's a pro, man. So these young guys out there, 5 minutes remain in this podcast. Young guys out there, just follow the lead, man. Train, put in some. I saw Oliver John on his story today. I think I saw Boss Blacker in the background, which I was saying in a podcast a little while back, a couple podcasts ago. I wasn't even trying to say like a diss on him. I said, show me why you're a rock star that's a wrestler, Boss Blacker. And then I see that he's lost fucking 40 pounds. The fucking pregnant belly's gone. And I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. Especially at 40-something, it's like, fuck, Boss Blacker's fucking today. This week, Boss Blacker, you get the Zach Reeb approval of the week. Way to lose weight and way to be in the background at the Ugly Dojo on a day that Oliver John is there. Because I remember one of the training seminars where Boss Blacker fucking Ollie said, give me a forearm, and Blacker just fucking potatoed the fuck out of Ollie, right? And Ollie goes, you just fucking potatoed me. And Ollie just fucking hit him so hard with that forearm that Boss took a tree like fall and hit the mat, and his eyes kind of rolled around, and then he got up, and Ollie fucking kicked him in the ribs and then kicked him in the fucking ass. And for him to lose this weight and to show up back there after stiffing one of the greatest trainers and pro wrestlers in NorCal history, if not the best, and to come back and lose the weight and to put in, especially at age, man, I like Boss Blacker. I salute you. I don't know how that lockup's looking, but I'll tell you what, as far as putting in the fucking work in the gym and the diet and showing up to train, I'm seeing you, brother. I'm seeing you.
What we're hoping for, man. You just want those guys to listen and do a few of the things, right? Get in the gym, eat the right foods, try to work on looking like a pro wrestler, get into training, work on working like a pro wrestler, all of the little things, man. Don't be too good to go to training. Don't be the person that stands on the apron and lets everybody else take the reps. Get in there and grab some reps for yourself. Let a big guy like me sweat on you while I grab a fucking headlock and throw you around a little bit. Give you a tackle or something. Let me get my sweat all over you,
dripping in my mouth.
That's exactly right.
I
felt bad a little bit tonight, but at the same time, I was like, "Fuck, dude, I'm in here sweating my ass off also with everybody else." I was like, "You're gonna get your sweat on me. I'm gonna get my sweat on you."
In the headlock, calling the spot down low, and you're like, "Hey," and the guy just dripping fucking sweat in your mouth.
That's it, man. In your mouth, in your nose, in your eyes. Their sweat is burning your eyes.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have to get on some HGH or some tests because I'm gonna be honest with you. At my age right now, I mean, there's times where I start to really trim down and start to look good, and then next thing you know, a long weekend happens, and I just eat like shit, man. So I mean, that's the hardest thing is the diet, man. Everybody can go to the gym and put in some exercise, fuck. Gyms where it starts and can be the easiest thing to do consistently. Training, stick in there, but that fucking diet, bro, is brutal. You see all these guys too that are ripped, and then they're done doing what they're doing, or it's their cheat day, and they're like eating a shitty hamburger, and they're like, these fries. Oh my God. Now I got to go back to eating like shit. That's a hard time. You eat something bad, you can't go back. Paul, you got anything closing out?
Oh man, we're just creeping up on the hardcore August fights on the 15th of August. Could have some pretty good bangers if I'm looking at my list right. I think we should have a fucking stacked card. A lot of good matches on there, so I'm excited about that. The next Friday we're doing the Brewers Cabinet. First time there, so new venue that we're trying to lock in. So we're doing that. So we got those shows back to back. You got your stadium show at the ball field at the ball yard.
Yeah, still waiting on those dudes, man. I still waiting on the check to come through, right? Like
there it is.
It was supposed to be here last Friday. So you never know, man. I mean, we'll see what it is. It's not how I would have wanted to approach going into this. If this is how they run their business, that's not how I run my business. I wanted to make my commercials. I wanted to promote this thing for 3 weeks, but as a promoter, until I see what I need to see, I can't go out and spend money on something that I haven't. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. It's one of those things, man. But like I said, that's part of running business and doing this for a living now is, hey, I've been on top of you for the last month and you keep saying that you're going to send this thing to me and it never happens. So that's on you guys, man. I can only do what I'm able to do. I'm not coming out of my pocket for something that you give me. What we made an agreement. You know what I mean? So that goes for anybody too. It's like, hey, just don't come out of your pocket to do something if you don't know if you're going to get reimbursed. If you're selling something, get your money. If you're promoting something, pay for it and lock it in, and then get your stuff and go get your money, man. As far as this goes, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're 174. We're almost to 175 podcasts into this thing. This is we're here for the long haul. We're here for a long time, not a good time. You know what I mean? So for Zach Primetime Reeb and the Wrecking Ball Paul Isadora, we're gonna leave you with this. We're going over.